Well, after 10 years in the post, the Bishop of Durham, Paul Butler, is about to retire. Since taking on the role, he's seen the church through the pandemic and marked the death of Queen Elizabeth and the coronation of King Charles. He's pressed politicians to tackle poverty here, but says local pride in their region remains its strength. He's been talking to our political editor, Richard Moss.
When he arrived in 2014, Paul Butler took a job that dates back to before the Norman conquest. He didn't inherit the immense power of some predecessors and has seen attendances fall, but he insists the church remains relevant.
If you go to any food bank, churches are involved. If you look at parent and carer and toddler groups, high numbers of them take place in church buildings. Who's visiting people who are sick and lonely? Who's caring for the isolated and so on? It's still the churches. It's still the local people serving local communities.
I, Paul Roger Butler, Lord Bishop of Durham.
And Bishop Paul has used his place in the House of Lords to press for action on issues like child poverty and investment in the region, bringing a northern voice to the corridors of power.
One thing I think that took me by surprise when I arrived 10 years ago was how strongly and quickly chief executives of local authorities, leaders of local authorities said to me, it's really important, Bishop Paul, that you speak up for the region. We don't have many voices in the House of Lords. So I've always spoken up for the region, knowing actually that the local community leaders and business leaders and so on still look to the bishop to play that part and play that role.
He's also overseen ceremonies to mark Queen Elizabeth's death, but also something few bishops experience, a key role in a king's coronation.
How did this little boy from Chessington in Surrey end up being stood beside the king at a coronation? I pinched myself during the service, but the honour and the privilege of doing that. And one of the things that really stood out for me afterwards was the number of people who said to me, it felt like we were there because you were there, Bishop.
Now, though, it's time to leave. And not just the job, but also the region. Retiring bishops move out of their diocese to give successors a clean start. But Bishop Paul leaves with fond memories and many friends.
The love that people have for their own communities, for the region, is so deep and so strong that's what really comes through. And that's what I will miss most, is the people and their passion for their lives here, however tough it is for some of them. And to work, hopefully, with the people, for the people of this region for the last 10 years has been the greatest privilege.
The Durham role will be filled temporarily by the current Bishop of Jarrow. A permanent successor will follow in 2025. Richard Moss, BBC Look North.